been in the industry a really long time, and I've pretty much done every job in the travel and tourism industry. I started at the Qantas Collins Street, and ultimately I ended up in the market research department, which was just fascinating during the I still call Australia home period. I call it the golden age of Qantas. And I fell in love with market research and in particular traveller research. I've been researching travellers for the last 20 years or so. I feel like this is the most privileged job in the world. I've interviewed literally thousands of travellers, surveyed and done a lot of face-to-face interviewing and focus groups the last 5 years or so, really focused on what I call the most profitable travellers of our time, and that is the over 50s. And I'm sure that everybody here on this call knows how profitable they are as a result of research and keeping the customer and traveller voice at the centre of every single decision. Now, let me tell you, the traveller has evolved, and it's really important to acknowledge that. The thing is, they have so much access to information now, and I'm going to touch on this a little bit more later on, and it makes our job easy and difficult at the same time. So we're going to touch on the amount of research that they're doing, regardless of whether or not they're using a travel agent or booking by themselves. They will put in hundreds of hours of research each year. So there's a lot going on now. And more recently, I've just gone all in with AI, because a lot of us had a period of reinvention during COVID. I've studied AI for the last couple of years, and I've studied under some really brainy people, fellow nerds. So I belong to a couple of AI masterminds. Generally, the one at the moment is in the US. And so I'm learning under some really brainy people. And what I love about AI is I've been able to combine my three favourite things: AI, traveller research, and marketing and travel in general. It is the most amazing period we will ever know, and we are right at the beginning with artificial intelligence. It's as big as when, I know there's a few people here of my vintage, and I mean that in the nicest possible way, from when we went from typing itineraries to having a computer at our desk. Probably bigger than that time. We're all here doing the same thing. And I guess from that perspective, we're all learning alongside each other. We're all learning what's possible. My goal is to share what I am learning with as many people in the travel and tourism industry to make our lives much easier. So what I want everybody here to do is just grow their bookings, and I want to show you how you can literally save hundreds of hours a year so that you can do what you love best, and that is planning itineraries, serving your customers, going out and scouting the best locations for your ideal travellers. So what I've done is I've created the travel marketing machine, and it's a complete marketing system based on 30 years of studying travellers and working with brands on how to bring insight into getting more bookings and making more sales, which is what we're all about, right? The travel marketing machine is a new product. It's AI driven, based on what you heard Holly talking about, customising your GPT so that you can get your marketing and sales done a lot faster than ever before. Today, I'm going to put into context what the problems it's solving. What is AI solving for us as a travel and tourism industry? And I'm going to go through some of the most common problems or obstacles that we face to constant bookings in the travel industry, validated pretty much 30 years in our industry. So I'll talk you through the solutions to some of those problems. And we're going to talk about how AI can fix those problems quicker than you can ever imagine. And I'll show you how you can install that. And stay to the end, because I am actually going to demonstrate a few things. Let me know, because I'm really happy to show and demonstrate based on the businesses of people who showed up today. So thank you. In the travel and tourism industry, after all those years, I've seen that there's three obstacles pretty much common to all of us that get in the way to stop you getting business and booking, growing your bookings and getting those inquiries. So today I'll go through those obstacles. I will provide solutions to those obstacles and bring that into one cohesive plan. That is to enable us to grow bookings consistently all year round. And what I'd like to show you is how to install this system. And it just helps when you've got something to follow. You're not marketing or selling blind. You're not just chasing your tails. You've just got a system to follow and you know that it's going to work. So this system will deliver you inquiries and bookings every week, so your pipeline never runs dry. So it's regardless of whether or not you decide to join me in the travel marketing machine or go and try and do it yourself. I'm going to show you exactly what I do, what I've done with my business and my system, total transparency. And then even if you don't end up coming with me, there are things in here that you can take and do yourself. So I like to call it old school marketing meets AI. And that's the beauty of being a more mature travel and tourism professional, is that we're like elephants. We've got very long memories. So what the travel marketing machine system does is it helps avoid the feast or famine business model of our industry. Doesn't it drive us crazy? It drives us to the edge at times. So whether that's seasonality, it could be interest rates, economic uncertainty, which is now collapses, and then they'll just throw in a war or two just to make it interesting for us. The reality is we're busy, we're not. We're filling school holidays and then we're trying to fill not school holidays. So I want to help avoid that stressful roller coaster that we've been living collectively as an industry for the last 10 or 15 years as the world's become a lot more uncertain. So it sets you up to get inquiries, bookings and new clients consistently all throughout the year, every week, all year round. So to remind you, we've got those 3 obstacles, 3 solutions and 1 plan. Let's go through it all. So pretty much everybody here on this call, whatever you do, is the end game is bookings. We all want bookings. It's our central goal. Unless you're a destination, you want visitors, which is pretty much the same thing, because if you get visitors, you're delivering bookings to your operators. So the promise of this is just more bookings, this whole system. And what it does is it solves the 3 main obstacles that we face. So I'm going to go through those now, and that is who to target. We want to know what marketing works, what marketing gives us bookings and inquiries. There's so much choice there. And the problem that we have of poor ROI on the time and the money that we spend. Your time is just as valuable as your budget right now. We need to give it the full respect it deserves, because we're all so time poor and just chasing our tails. We're going to look at obstacle number 1, who to target. The problem that we have here is we're always thinking about who's the right person, who's the right target market, where does the money lay, who's travelling in this economy, who's the most profitable traveller. And then the problem that we have is that there is no access to data or research. And if there is, it's actually really expensive to buy. So in this day and age, really only the big brands can afford to do their own market research. So we might do a little bit of a Google search every now and then, or we might just go on instinct, which is often pretty good, to be honest, because you guys are at the forefront of talking to your customers, which you have the luxury to have, the big brands don't. But the reality is you generally don't have the time to find out because we're all busy. You might go to a conference, you go, yeah, great trends. And there's always great talks and sessions at conferences that talk about trends or solo travelers or senior travelers. And you leave with all good intentions of doing something with that. But the fact is, we all walk off and we forget about it and just go, yeah, that was great. You actually don't know what to do with them. So as a result, you serve everyone, which really is a very inefficient way to do your marketing, results in very generic campaigns and very generic business practice. Obstacle number 2, we just want to know what marketing works. There's so much choice that since, again, with my dinosaur hat on, we have the tyranny of choice now that with smartphones, which really, it wasn't that long ago, I think it was 2009 or 2007, the options of marketing have grown. So really, no, it's not you. It has actually happened. So we're just overwhelmed by what to do, and we just want to know what's going to get us bookings in the end. We don't want to waste our time. We don't want to lose bookings if we're advertising in the wrong places. We're getting burnt out. And if you are doing the wrong marketing or advertising the wrong places, the wrong way, you could risk damaging your brand and reputation, having no time to follow up. And it's such a cliche, but there really is fortune in the follow up. So we really need to be a little bit disciplined in following up a bit more. And that's something that I do with my clients, and what I want you to do in terms of reading the statistics of your emails. It's really super important. The other thing I just want to say is, I know so many of us here, you're always posting organically. The reality is Facebook will only show around 4%, and that's being generous, of your followers or page likers, the posts that you're putting up there. So they will physically have to come to your page, which they do sometimes along the path to purchase, to see your Facebook posts. But we generally and naturally lean to Facebook because we know Facebook, we use it in our personal life. And you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I'll let you know, very rarely it will not end in a booking for you. Just think of it as complementary content to have. And unfortunately, the way that Meta works is that you need to pay paid advertising. It works quite well, very targeted, but it won't work as well with organic Facebook posting with no purpose. Is it going to give us bookings? Is the end game bookings? And that's where my head is, because I've been around for so long, is just give us the bookings. Number 3, whatever we do with our time and budget, or it's a common problem that we're getting poor ROI, or as I say, worse, having no idea of your ROI. I actually think that's worse than poor ROI. A lot of the stuff that we're doing, we don't know. We're getting unclear results, low conversion rates. And the reality is it's an inefficient use of time and budget. But that's scattered focused, and we're underutilizing channels like email. And this is where my old school love of email comes into it. It is still the most successful way to target and sell your business, email. So what we need to do now is remove all of those obstacles and barriers. And believe me, those top 3 things are the main obstacles and barriers to most of the travel industry's growth. So we're going to look at each of those individually now and how to remove those obstacles. Before you do anything, you need to attain a deep understanding of your customer, your ideal traveller. You need to know them inside and out, what drives them, what they think about, what they dream about. It's super important, especially for the over 50s traveller. The over 50s traveller, some of them have been thinking about this time of their life for the last 30 or 40 years. It is so highly charged. It is such a high involvement purchase, the travels at this period of their life. You cannot underestimate how important it is. For some of them, they're selling their homes, they're downsizing specifically to free up the cash to travel. That's pretty powerful stuff when you think about it. You've got to bear all this in mind when you are marketing and selling to them, and give it the respect it deserves. Because if you serve those travellers really well, they're not booking one trip anymore. They're booking many trips a year, and that's domestic and international. So they're very profitable. So removing those obstacles, we're going to find the most profitable trends, profitable travellers through research and insight. So you can go and do all this through AI and ChatGPT now. So you can go in there and ask them to provide profiles. It'll give you specific ways to market and campaign to these travellers. It's great for that. You can do the Google search. But what I've done in the system is I've put all my 30 years of research into the back of the custom GPT, finding out who those profitable travellers are. Number 2, identifying those ideal travellers. As I mentioned, really get to know them. It's great to focus on just one or two. The Americans have that saying, the riches are in the niches. It's so true. Especially if you are a travel agent, because I'm seeing in my research the one thing that they value in a travel agent is specialisation. So often I will hear in my research and interviews, why would I use a travel agent when I can find that information myself? Now, you might think, oh, but I'm saving them time. So if you consider a retiree, they get such joy out of doing their research. It's part of the journey for them. But what they do love about a travel agent is the specialisation, is to provide that knowledge that you can give them that they can't get, the little secret spots, the destinations, especially you've been there, you've been on that cruise, you've done this. That is where a good travel agent is worth their weight in gold, and that is where I'm seeing the evidence point towards is specialisation for a travel agent. They'll still go and put in their hundreds of hours of research, but they'll come to you as a specialist with their hundreds of hours of research. I know you've seen it. And you'll be able to sprinkle your gold and special insight and little secrets that they can't find themselves along the way. So bear that in mind and make sure you don't undersell it. Just Angelo and his Greek specialty, really great. The other thing that you really need to understand during your traveller research or understanding your traveller is how they actually choose and buy their travel. It's very complex. It's not straightforward. Back 20 years ago, you'd just go and book it, really. You'd see an ad in the paper, pick up the phone or go and see an agent and essentially book it. Might have looked at the Lonely Planet, but this is what it looks like now. It's complicated. There's around 8 stages of the traveller path to purchase or customer journey. They need different types of information at different stages. Much of it sits around 2, 3, 4, and essentially 5. And a lot of the information will cover off each stage. So don't sit there thinking, oh my God, I've got to do all this. Having the knowledge of how they actually choose, and never underestimate the involvement that they have and the time they've been thinking about these trips all throughout their life. It's just so important. Okay. The third problem is looking at what marketing actually works. I touched on it before. And what we need to focus on is content marketing. Now, what is content marketing? It's just what it says. It's just having great content online, on your website, on your videos, your imagery, because your ideal traveller, the ones that are spending the most money, the ones that are doing the most trips, I'm not joking when I say they are spending hundreds of hours a year researching their travels. And this is the travellers. So they're on there. Previously, back years ago, I would do research for big brands to try and find out the cutoff point. So how far in advance Do they start planning their trip? Would often be a question a brand would ask me. And internationally, we could safely say, oh, it's about 6 months, 4 months, depending on where it was. But now they are planning virtually 24/7, 365 days of the year. They're frustrated travel agents themselves. They get so much joy and they want to know the nooks and crannies of everything that you're offering them. So this is why your content and what you put up on your blogs, your articles, your emails, yes, your socials, and even your videos, it's super, super important. So any marketing that you do now needs to be content heavy because the content serves many purposes. It tells your ideal traveler you know what you're talking about, that you are that destination specialist. It allows for them to trust your brand over a period of time. If you think, for example, if I'm choosing between 3 travel agents or 3 tour companies or river cruises, whatever you want, I'm going to choose the one that I've spent the most time with on their website or through their emails or socials. So that's why it's so important. And that is a shift that we've seen in the last 5 years or so. They're spending hundreds of hours researching online, regardless of whether they're booking with a travel agent or not. And that is where AI and ChatGPT is saving us all. It was so time-based. You had writers, you had to research, you had to write, and we had to find out what trends to incorporate. What we can do now is just put those trends and whatever into ChatGPT, and a project now that would have taken me, say, 8 weeks will take me a day. It's amazing. So if you think about all those tasks with regards to content creation, itinerary planning, picking out ideas, you spend hours and hours doing this stuff. You can literally do it like that. It is changing the world, this stuff, not just for travel, but everywhere. It's so exciting. And what you need to do, though, is there's a caveat. Yes, you can create all the content in the world, but you've got to create content that is interesting, that is relevant and genuinely helpful to your ideal traveller. So this is where we use our content pillars. Again, I've validated the content that works, stuff that piques their interest, and the very, very deep emotional reasons that people travel. So we tap into that stuff. So it's not enough to be surface based. You really need to tap into what makes them tick, what makes them travel. So if you're a cruise company, it's really not going to get me excited by talking about the 50 activities that you have on your boat. I want to see the look on the faces of my grandchildren when I watch them doing those exciting activities. So shifting that thinking and really creating content that's going to emotionally connect, which really is the holy grail of marketing. And we're lucky because we're not selling washing powder or insurance. We're selling travel. So it's pretty easy. And the great thing is we're creating all this now, not in months, not over a year, we're not staring at that to-do list going, oh my God, when am I going to write that article? We can just tell ChatGPT to whip it up in 30 seconds. So exciting. So I wanted to touch on, before we go into the next step in the demo, is looking at, Holly talked about she's created GPTs for her business, for her processes. There's a big difference and benefit in creating your own customized GPTs. And I've done that with the Travel Marketing Machine. And a couple of agents on here today has the Travel Marketing Machine, including Sarah Webster. But there's benefits to customizing versus the generic ChatGPT. Again, word of caution, it's drawing the same information as everybody else. It's going to create limited uniqueness of content because you're tapping into the same information. There's a lot of generic stuff out there. A lot of it sounds the same. So I don't know if you've ever read itineraries or content of different brands where you read one and then you read the next one and you go, did I just read the same article? So we're seeing a lot of overused phrases and concepts that frankly are just becoming a bit weird. The thing is, it's not trained on your specific tone or your company or your voice. So what you can do with your own customized ChatGPT is put you into it. We can give it really specific instructions on you and your business and your ideal traveler. And what I've done is I've been able to sit all of my research behind there so that I can churn out content that is on brand, on research, on trend. And I'll give you an example of solo travelers a bit later on, because I've just put that report into mine. So Sarah, we've got a solo traveller report in there now with all the pain points and concerns and reasons that solo travellers travel. So there are benefits to customising your ChatGPT. So the third problem is the poor marketing ROI on our time and money. It's really frustrating when we do a campaign, we spend money on advertising, and it just doesn't do as well as we thought it would. Just spending money and time on stuff that you don't have control over. The more money we spend on Facebook or ads, you're not building your business assets. But what I like to advise is that you create your articles and then you put them on your website. By having it on your website, it's something that you can draw on over and over again. You can tweak it, you can add to it if you go to a destination or if a restaurant closes or you discover something new. It's always yours. You haven't wasted your effort, your time and your money. And also the great thing about it is it adds to your other business asset that I advise you build is your email list. So we've got these two content holders, if you like. You will own them, which adds value to your business. But also with email, we can regurgitate that fabulous piece of content, that blog piece that's on your website into an email seamlessly in 2 seconds. It takes that long. So you post your beautiful content, your blog post on solo travelers on your website. You ask ChatGPT to create an email for you. It will do that in 2 seconds. And then you can link your email to that beautiful blog piece on your website. So we're sending them back to your website so that they can trust your brand, learn to know about your brand, and spend hours on there if you've got great content. The great thing about email is that it's first-party data. So you may have heard we're losing the ability to do remarketing with Google now with all the privacy concerns. So you have a great opportunity to start your email list. Now, email is still, and again, evidence and research points to this over and over, not just mine, but just Google it. It's still the most effective way to target and market to your ideal traveller, your ideal customer. That you've got a direct route to them. Why don't you use it? And if they don't want to be there, they'll unsubscribe, and that's okay. They're not for you. That's how I view it. Your ROI on email is $42 to every dollar spent, which there is nothing out there that's going to get you that. And it's cheap and it's easy. Just get on it. Oh, okay. There you go. Sarah, good on you. So then what we're going to do is also ask ChatGPT to turn that fabulous article on your website into a couple, 2 or 3 social posts, post them up to Facebook, because you never know, someone will come there, but always link it back to your website. Facebook doesn't really want us to do that. They want us to stay on Facebook forever. But if someone comes to your page, if you're promoting a page on your website, again, have a little blurb, get ChatGPT to create that for you and provide the link to your website where they can find more information about you. This stuff is not rocket science. It's so easy to do. So we run those campaigns every week. We measure those campaigns. We read the statistics. I will turn you into a statistic nerd. Even if you're not with me, I want you to really understand your email platform and understand what happens when you see a lot of people opening. So if somebody's opened your email 15 times, what that probably means in your instance is that person might have opened it 3 or 4 times, but they've actually also sent it on to friends or a partner. So your Penang cruise that you're promoting for 1 or 2, if they've sent it on to friends and they've opened it 15 times, which is a very common scenario, that's a Penang cruise booking for 10 people. So that's where you can get on the phone and just call them or follow up with another email. There's lots you can do with that. And we go through all this. We have scripts. You can ask ChatGPT to provide you a script for that scenario. And it's just repeat referrals and more bookings. So your business, I guarantee, will naturally grow with this system. It's easy to implement. You've just got to be disciplined and just do it, right? Okay, so what I might do here is, before I go in to ChatGPT, Sarah's got this travel marketing machine and she's written a solo traveler last night. That's perfect, Sarah, because I literally dropped in that solo article about 2 or 3 days ago. That will probably link into a lot of the research that sits behind there. Any questions about anything that I've done there before we go into the demonstration? Okay, you're just ready to get into it? Okay, let me share my screen again. Let's go into ChatGPT. Okay, so here we are. I'm assuming everyone can see that. I'll just check can someone say yes, you can see my ChatGPT? That would help me. I'm just assuming. Thanks, Phil. Phil's another legend on my program, just kicking massive goals. Okay, so I'm going to go into normal ChatGPT here. So on the left-hand side, you can see this is the ChatGPT. So down here, I have all my customized GPTs. I have all of my chats on the left. I don't know if any Brian Tracy fans here. He's like the best salesperson of the century. I've read all his books. And yeah, all sorts of people are creating their own ChatGPTs. You can close the sidebar here. This is just your normal ChatGPT. What happens here, for example, I have the travel marketing machine here. Does anybody want to create a solo traveler campaign? Any volunteers? And if you volunteer, I can send this campaign to you. Sarah? No? Okay, Kylie, what do you want to do? Who are you targeting? I can do a few, totally. So Kylie, give me solo women, and where are we going? Where are we going, Kylie? Anywhere or just cruising? Okay. Create a solo travel campaign or article. We'll start with an article on cruising. So what cruising, why it's so often associated with couples and families, all in one. So what we've put in the back here is the research on some of the concerns that solo travellers have. And the number one thing that comes out over and over again is safety. And 80% of solo travellers are women, and increasingly they're women over 50. So that's why it's come up with this stuff. And also social, I can see it's drawn on the research here, balance between solitude and socialising. This is great. It's right on. So yeah, it's pulling out brands that have the cabins. So yep, solo meetups. This is great. Loneliness is something, and I have to tell you, I feel so privileged to do my job sometimes, and people really open up to me. In solo travel, we do get a little bit lonely sometimes. It has absolute advantages, but on the odd occasion, if you've seen the pyramids or something, you just need to download to someone how fabulous that was. There are times when talking to that is really good thing. It's not a bad thing. Dining alone, especially for older ladies who are newly widowed and newly divorced, it's one of the things that they're always worried about. So cruising is great, and it's addressed that here, that they don't want to be where couples are. And I find that with these ladies, they're so fabulous. It just takes one trip and then they're just completely unstoppable. It's amazing. I reckon that's pretty good. So then I might say, okay, I'm going to give it a thumbs up. I give it the thumbs up because I like it. If you're on ChatGPT, the paid version, it's got a memory and it collects your previous chats. And I'll show you how we can create an email. I want to create an email and 2 social media posts. See what it gives us. The other thing I've done here is the subject line is the most important part of your email. So I've actually got a formula that sits behind here that draws on what. And freedom, solo traveling is freedom. So it's got here a little bit of a spiel. So you can link that through. And again, the social posts. How easy is that? There's no excuse for you anymore, is there? Let's have a look up here. So Kylie's given us cruising wellness retreat. Okay, so now I want actually might start a new chat for that. So when you start on a completely different topic, start a new chat. So what's happened? I've got a new client that's walked in or called me or sent an email. So we just had our cruising client. Now we have our wellness client. And we might say wellness, it's a huge and up and coming trend, huge trend at the moment, right? I might want to do more than a campaign. Create a solo campaign on wellness. Searching my knowledge base, it's going in there going, oh, what can I pick out of there? It's like having your new assistant. Now, what this is doing, it's providing ideas for every stage of the traveller path to purchase or customer journey. So if you remember early on, there are 8 stages. So if you wanted to become a wellness specialist, for example, this is perfect because this will provide you a year's worth of content. So we start with the dreaming, finding your inner peace. And this is, again, drawing from the research. Wellness is great for solo women over 50 because obviously widows, there's a lot of divorce. The divorce statistics say that the highest divorce rates are women in their 50s and 60s, and 90% of those divorces are driven by women. And women use travel as a means to really find out who they are as a person. Travel just solves so many problems for people. It's just wonderful. So many women say, I've lost myself, self-care, planning. So this is where we go into the granular step-by-step guides, destinations, experiences. We get more. So if you figure when they get to the planning stage, so they go from dreaming, the trigger, they start planning. So think of it like an upside down pyramid or a diamond where they've got all their choices up here and then they're just refining, and it's where you can step in and start sending this stuff out to help them. They've got 4 different blog outlines. You can choose one, you can choose them all. You can see how powerful this is. It is literally, when you see this for the first time, it is mind-blowing of what's possible. So solo women to Southeast Asia. Okay, let's try another one. I'll try and fit everyone in. This is validating, no compromises or waiting on travel companions. You don't want to wait for someone to go with you before you travel. Stepping out of your comfort zone, again, that's drawing from the research. That's something that people want to do. Let's do one for Angelo, for Greece, Greek couples going to Greece. Oh, did this, Sarah, that is amazing. Angelo, are you still here? Just give me a yes or no in the chat. You might not be here. Yep, okay. That's amazing that you've done that with Penny. I've actually done that myself with copywriters as well. No problem in standing on the shoulders of giants is what I say. So let's go in and say, now I want to show you something exciting as well. So what I'm going to do now is show you that on ChatGPT, we now have voice capacity and it can only be done on your mobile phone. So Sarah, this is probably something you don't know because you've not been coming to my things, but we can go through that. The travel marketing machine here. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to talk on my phone and it will come up on my screen. I just have to refresh it. So just hang fire and watch this. I want to create a marketing campaign for couples over 50 going to Greece. I am a Greek travel specialist. Oh, this is great. Fall in love all over again. I love it. Now, Angelo, I've been watching you. I think target non-Greeks is your secret weapon, I think. Because people want to go to a destination with an expert. They want to go off the beaten track, which you've been showing in your posts, and that's awesome. It's still going. I will send this to you. Anyone I'm doing here today, make sure you email me your email addresses and I can actually send the thread to you. Still going. This is really nice. And again, it's drawing on my research here. Okay, done. So what I'm going to do now is move all these bits of the Zoom boxes. So if you look to the left-hand side today, I've just done that Southeast Asia guide. I'm going to refresh, reload my ChatGPT page. Now, if you have a look on the left-hand side, it's given me the Greece marketing campaign. And I'm going to go into that now. So here's the campaign. Let's see what it's given us. Targeting couples over 50. So it's gone to that 8 stages of the traveller customer journey. And see, Angelo, this is perfect for you as a Greek specialist and couples in particular. This is really powerful because you're going to have to cover off. I highly recommend that. And yep, Deb, it is wow. We've got romance, luxury. There's a lot of romance in there. And it's great because people over 50, and this is what I say in my research, it's come out, it's a finding. What they do is when the kids metaphorically flee the nest because they can't actually fly the nest anymore because it's so expensive. So the kids are still around, but they get to a stage where they look at each other and go, or they either reconnect or disconnect. And disconnect is divorce. And reconnect is they get totally loved up again. And those ones are real best friends. They're friends for life. So they may have been childhood sweethearts. I find a lot of those are survivors. I shouldn't call them survivors, but yeah, I guess they are. This is amazing. Milestones, anniversaries, retirement. You can be, that's a great retirement. Boutique accommodations, quieter beaches. So regardless, Angelo, of whether or not you're taking them on a tour, you should have all these things that in their tips and tricks for couples, what to pack. Smooth sailing. Yeah, this is awesome. I know you're on the fence, Angelo, so I want you to come with me. Come on. Yes, I'll send you a copy. Either way, it really is exciting. And so if you have a look here, it's given us email subject lines. Start emailing these people. The wonderful thing is that ChatGPT and the custom GPT continues to get to know you. It's really quite powerful. So what I'm going to do now is just go through a little bit, if that's okay with you, what I offer in my program. So I've got a couple of my current students here today, Sarah and Phil, and I'm sure they're happy to come on. I'll put them on the spot to maybe talk about it, if that's okay with you guys. It's a system, and I'm with you every step of the way. All the research sits behind here, and you could just see what happened with Angelo. So what we would do is just take those articles and map it out and map out a campaign based on all of the traveller research. Now, here's the thing. This product is totally new. The whole concept is totally new. Okay, we're all in new territory here. So the way I'm launching this is that it started at $1,000 earlier in the year. Last month it was $1,500, and next month, this month it's $2,000. I'm just putting it up $500 every month until I see fit. This month until the end of October, it's $2,000, then it'll go up to $2,500. It's amazing to have access to all of my 30 years of traveller research. You don't even have to go through it and interrogate it. It's all there. You just tell it what you want, and everything that you do is absolutely evidence-based. It truly is amazing. So what I'll do here, oh, that's all right, Phil. Oh, okay. Yep, no worries. Oh, Phil's just saying he loves it, loves my advice. So I'm with you every single step of the way here. The way it works is that every week we have a coaching session, and I go through all the research, all the trends. We'll go through the over 50s, the baby boomers, you name it. We target the most profitable travellers. We're doing a multi-generational campaign this week as well. All the information is in here. And what the travel marketing machine, it will just churn out your campaigns based on the research from the 8 stages of the traveller journey. And then it will create that campaign for you, and then it just churns out a list of topics or blog articles. If you don't like the list, you say, give me more ideas. You feed it ideas. It has a memory. We put your brand in there. So what we do is we train it to understand your brand, who you are, who your ideal travellers are as well. So it gets to know you every single day. You use it more, and you can use it to create itineraries. You can actually have a regular client and have their own customized little cheap GPT dedicated to their wants and needs and preferences. The possibilities are endless. And what I'm doing within my mastermind group here of travel professionals, total pioneers, because we're all new to this, is I'm sharing the stuff that I'm learning every single week from my mastermind group in America, and I'm just sharing it because all new, and it's just so exciting. So I'll open the floor here for questions. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Let me see if there's any questions. Any questions for me? Sarah is also happy. I'm going to put the checkout page. I'm going to put Sarah on actually, because do you know what? Kylie, let me tell you something. It's $2,000. Oh no, you have it forever. So it starts at, it's $2,000 and it's yours. I know it's ridiculous for the moment, and that is going to change. So I may down the track. Deb, why are you going to start next year? But yes, you could if you wanted. No time like the present. Let me tell you, when you're doing something as exciting as we are. Oh, holidays, fair call. I'm all for one for dropping it for a good holiday. But yeah, that's fine. Absolutely. This is actually created for crazy busy travel and tourism industry people. All the sessions are recorded. We can pretty much guarantee everybody on the program is going to be away on a famil or a holiday or doing something extremely exciting for at least part of the program. So that's what it's designed for. Now, I'm going to